Yes, it's finally happening. Another Nintendo Direct. Man, I cannot wait. We have been talking about this Direct, I feel like, since the beginning of June. And now we finally know that tomorrow a Nintendo Direct is finally here. Why are y'all looking at me weird right now? I feel like there is some sort of I don't know, something's different over here with you guys looking at me. Is my hair okay? I think. I don't know what's going on, but that's besides the point. Nintendo has finally announced that there is a Nintendo Direct happening, and I figured it was time to finally talk about the fact that this Direct is happening. Let's talk about what we could be seeing and talk about something that's just been going on with a leak with one of the games that we already know about. But let's first talk about how Nate the Hate was right. Everyone continues to doubt Nate the Hate, and here he is once again being proven correct. Honestly, I think Nate the Hate's the only reliable leaker that you can trust out here. Granted, he does get some things wrong. Let's just be honest, he does. But like 9 out of 10 times the stuff that he says is correct or eventually happens or something like that. So I'm always going to take his word over other leakers out there. But I want to talk to you guys about some of the predictions I have for tomorrow's Direct. But before we do that, I do have to say we are super duper close to 22,000 subscribers. If you guys haven't subscribed already, I would greatly appreciate it. Without further ado, let's jump into these predictions. First thing that I want to say with this Direct, I really am not expecting the craziest Direct of all time. I feel like we're going to see a heavy third-party presence here at this Nintendo Direct. I still think first-party stuff's going to be here, but in terms of new game announcements, I don't think we're really going to see that when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. I think we're going to get a focus of 2025, and we already know what Nintendo has planned for this year. We just don't know release dates for these games. So I'm expecting to see a lot of the stuff that we already know about with just updates on what the game looks like and an actual release date. That being said, I think the Direct is going to open up in two different ways. I think it is going to start with Nintendo Switch 1 stuff. They're going to emphasize that the Direct starts with Switch 1, and that later in Direct, the Switch 2 portion will begin. So, with the Switch 1 portion, I think they are going to open up with potentially a brand new game from Nintendo that's coming for the Switch 1. One of those games is going to probably be Yoshi's Woolly World. We've already know that this game is coming to the Switch 1 at some point. We just don't know when. And you might be asking yourself, how do we know this? Well, Nintendo accidentally leaked that Yoshi's Woolly World was coming to the Nintendo Switch when they did their big Switch 2 Direct back in April. They showed that Yoshi's Woolly World was one of the games that you could game share, I believe is where it was at. But obviously Yoshi is not out on the Switch 1 yet, not Yoshi's Woolly World. I know Crafted World exists. And I expect that to be a title that comes out for the system later this year, because Switch 1 stuff are still going to happen for the system. As I said before, I think Nintendo is going to support this system probably until 2027 is what I'm predicting. So a lot of the stuff that Nintendo will make for the Switch 1, I don't think you're going to see too many brand new games. You might get some remakes, you might get some things like Tomodachi Life Rhythm Heaven, but I think a majority of what Nintendo is going to be putting out for Switch 1 will be remastered stuff. And Yoshi's Woolly World is kind of the perfect game to have there. Another thing that I do think Nintendo will announce here, because this has been leaked, Kirby Planet Robobot is going to be coming to the Switch at some point. Nate the Hate has leaked this earlier this year. He was told it's already finished, and I figured that that would be a good title that you could see come out this year for the Switch 1, as the Switch 1 titles is looking a little thin from Nintendo. I think they want to have a few more titles, and just having Kirby right there, especially with Kirby Air Riders coming to the Switch 2, they might want to release another Kirby game for the Switch 1 audience, since there's such a big audience for Kirby. So I'm thinking Kirby Planet Robobot will be announced here and will come out to the Nintendo Switch 1 on September. And Yoshi's Woolly World will be announced with a November date. I think it's possible they might announce new amiibos with this, as it seems like Amiibo is starting to make a comeback again. But there's obviously going to have to be some sort of new content for these games, because that's how they advertise these new versions, as deluxe editions. So I'm expecting something there, but not really much to be talked about into the Direct. I also think they will close out the Switch 1 segment talking about Meteoroid Prime 4. Obviously, we know that this game is coming out this year, but we don't have a release date. I think here is where we'll get the confirmed release date, and I'm expecting Meteoroid Prime 4 to release in October. And then that will be it for the Switch 1 stuff. Maybe they show a little third-party sizzle reel, but when it comes to Nintendo, I think that's all that they're going to show from their stuff when it comes to the Switch 1 in this Direct. I'm not expecting any Rhythm Heaven or Tomodachi Life. If Rhythm Heaven is here, then that is going to be probably a very early 2026 release, and I think it's possible they could show that, but I think they're going to save Rhythm Heaven for really the next Nintendo Direct that I expect to be around the October timeframe. Let's jump into the Nintendo Switch 2 segment. Now, I think there's one of two things that they could do here with how they open it up. I think they could either open it up with a new game coming to the system, but like I said before, we already know what's coming out this year, so I don't think they're going to open that part with a new game. I think they will close the show off with the new game. So what I think that they're going to open the Direct with is Splatoon Raiders. We don't know enough about Splatoon Raiders. We know that it has been leaked at retailers now, that a lot of information for Splatoon Raiders is coming out. Like, for example, 2025, I think that is going to be Nintendo's surprise game that comes out this year. And I expect Splatoon Raiders to drop in the month of November. But I expect probably a good 5 or 6 minutes of the Direct is going to show off Splatoon Raiders and how it's running, looking, what it is, what the story mode is there online multiplayer. We're just going to get a good feeling of what exactly this game is. And I expect that they're going to do some sort of amiibo with Splatoon Raiders, as it makes the most sense. I also think at some point they're going to mention Drag X Drive. We know that this is coming out August 14th. They might show a new trailer, as Nintendo has not really shown much about this game. They might just emphasize that a global playtest is about to happen. Take a look at this, give you an idea of what that global playtest is going to look like to promote Drag X Drive. I also think we're finally going to get a lot more information on Kirby Air Riders in this Direct, as all we had was a cinematic trailer, and we don't really know what to expect. I mean, we assume it's going to be very similar to what was on the GameCube, but I do expect that we're going to get a lot of footage of this here. I think they are going to announce the release date, which I'm expecting to be a December release date. Yes, I know December. Nintendo sometimes does December releases. It's not a common thing, but it's not exactly a rare thing for Nintendo to do. And looking at the lineup that they have with the amount of games that are coming out from Switch 1 to Switch 2, I definitely think Nintendo will utilize a December release, and I feel like Kirby Air Riders is the perfect thing to have come out in December. I also wouldn't be surprised if Sakurai somehow makes an appearance in this Direct talking about Kirby Air Riders, because you know that this is something that he's very passionate about. This has always been a favorite thing that he's made, and he's always wanted to do a sequel. So they'll probably have him on the screen talking about what the game is, the gameplay, the new features, all that type of stuff.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Editor Max here. I don't know how I forgot about this. I really don't, because I've been looking forward to this, and somehow I don't know. But I forgot about Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. We're obviously going to see that here with a release date. There's apparently a lot to this game that we don't know about, according to like Koei Tecmo when they did the whole Curator's Voice episode on the game. I probably think that will come out, man, I don't even know. There's so much coming out with Nintendo's first-party lineup this year with Switch 1 and Switch 2. I mean, I feel like that could be December as well, but then Kirby's December is what I'm thinking. Maybe October? I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking here. I can't believe that I forgot about Hyrule Warriors. Maybe it comes out in September. I feel like that's too close. It's too close. But Nintendo's done stuff like that before. I don't know, but we're definitely going to see it with a release date for sure.
I do feel like third party is going to have a heavy presence in this Direct. Like I said before, there's so many things that we don't know what's going on with third party games. Supposedly Xbox has a lot of things ready to come out for the Switch 2, but they have not been able to announce some of those titles. So I feel like Xbox is going to be here, maybe announcing that Doom Dark Ages is coming to the system, Elder Scrolls Oblivion, Hi-Fi Rush. I mean, there's so many things that Xbox has that could work so well with the Switch 2 hardware. There's Forza. I'm expecting a lot of Xbox titles to be here at the Direct. Maybe Phil Spencer's going to be on the screen talking about it, or somebody over at Xbox is here to talk about it, but I'm expecting that. I'm also expecting the announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows. Ubisoft has already talked about the fact that they have one giant unannounced Nintendo Switch 2 game that they can't wait to talk about. And they've kind of already accidentally shown that Assassin's Creed Shadow is coming to the system through, I think it was their Brazil account. And I think other Assassin's Creed games got leaked by the Brazil account. But I'm expecting Assassin's Creed Shadows to be here. They might talk about the fact that Star Wars Outlaws is about to come out for the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. But I am expecting Ubisoft to be here talking about that game. Maybe more Ubisoft titles gets announced here as well. I also think we're going to get an updated release date on Final Fantasy VII. We don't know when this game's coming out. I feel like it's possible they might announce what is so special about the Switch 2 edition. Maybe there's exclusive content and they give you a new trailer here for that. I'm expecting it to be probably like a minute with the announcement of the release date. I'm also expecting Elden Ring to be here, mainly due to the fact that we had a Bandai Namco presentation and everyone expected Elden Ring to be there, and it wasn't. So I'm expecting we're finally going to get the Nintendo Switch 2 release date for that here at this Direct. Something that has been pointed out and why there's been so many like non-third-party announcements for the Switch 2 right now is because Nintendo, supposedly, this is what leaks are saying, Nintendo wants to be the ones to announce their Switch 2 editions. So that's why I'm saying this Direct is probably going to have a lot of third-party announcements and updates, considering that there's been so many games recently that has been announced or coming out that you would think like a Switch 2 version would happen. You know, one of those things, I'm not expecting this to be here. Maybe it gets mentioned, but the Persona 4 remake, everyone was confused why that wasn't coming to the Switch 2, but I think it is. It's just Nintendo wants to be the ones to announce that. This got leaked by Beat 'em Ups, and if he's correct, I assume that this will be here. Death Stranding Director's Cut S Edition. Obviously, with it being called S Edition, there's going to be something exclusive about this version. So I expect they're going to talk about that for a little bit, and I think they're going to announce that Death Stranding will be shadow dropped onto the Nintendo eShop immediately right after the presentation. Because I don't think this is going to get a physical release, because that's what happened with the Xbox version of this game. So I think they just are going to throw it at you. They might have Kojima there. I don't know. Either way, I think this is going to be exciting. I'm very pumped to play this on the Nintendo Switch 2. I do think Sega and Atlus will be here. There's a lot of rumors going around by like a credible Persona leaker that Metaphor is going to be here for the Nintendo Switch 2. And he kind of hinted that Persona 3 Reload is going to be here, but didn't flat out say it, so I feel like that was more of a guess. It seems like Metaphor for sure is going to be at this Direct, though. Either way, I think both of those games are coming to the Switch 2. I just don't think they happen in the same year, but I could be wrong. I just feel like that's putting audiences against each other, and I just don't know if that would really benefit Sega and Atlus putting those two games around the same time. That's why I'm saying I think one comes out this year and then the next early next year, but who knows. I think Capcom could make a presence here as well. I don't know what else they could be having, but apparently Capcom is supposedly not been allowed to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 games they have in development. I don't know if Monster Hunter Wilds is one that they are going to attempt to put onto the system. I definitely think it's possible. It's just going to take a lot of time. And I feel like they would definitely want Monster Hunter on the Switch 2, considering how successful those games are on the Switch. I don't know. Should be very interesting to see what happens. Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 edition. That's been rumored and leaked. I think that could come here. And, you know, honestly, I feel like that could be a shadow drop as well. I'm thinking something shadow drops onto the Nintendo eShop. And The Witcher 3 Nintendo Switch 2 edition kind of makes sense. But I feel like Death Stranding also makes sense as well, because Witcher 3 they'll make a physical copy of most likely. So no, I don't think Witcher 3 would be a shadow drop release now that I'm thinking about it. I do think that we're going to get a Nintendo Switch Online update. Obviously, we just had the Mario Paint update that randomly just came out of nowhere. But I think the reason behind that is because they had another game coming to NSO and they didn't want two shadow drops on NSO at the same time. I think something GameCube will get shadow dropped. I don't know if it could be potentially Kirby Air Riders to promote Kirby Air Rides for the Switch 2. I don't know. I feel like something like that could happen. I know Pokemon was rumored according to beat 'em ups, but I don't feel like, well, they didn't talk about Pokemon Presents, so maybe Pokemon's here. I think we're going to get some GameCube updates either way. And then obviously Nintendo will close the show with their one last announcement. Now, there's been a lot of things leaked. Now, this could be a lot of things. I think a lot of people are thinking maybe 3D Mario. And I don't think we're going to have anything Mario here at this Direct, because I think Nintendo will do a Mario Direct for the 40th anniversary and sometime in September. September is always when they do stuff for Mario, and I really don't think they're going to do anything or mention Mario, anything like that in this Direct. So I don't think the show gets closed out with a 3D Mario game. I think the next 3D Mario game gets announced in September, in my personal opinion, in that Direct, with a lot of other things happening for the 40th anniversary of Mario. They might throw like a new trailer for Super Mario, the movie sequel. I think there's just so much you could do in a Mario Direct, and I think history will repeat itself. There's been rumors of a remake for Zelda Ocarina of Time. I don't think this is going to happen, though, considering the person that leaked this game has had a very bad track record recently. In fact, I don't think this game exists, but who knows? We could be proven wrong, and maybe that's what closed out the show. Or I think what it could be is Animal Crossing, as Wood has said that this is what he was told was going to be in this Direct at some point. I think the show closes off with Animal Crossing. Maybe they've showed, 2026, obviously, and I think that probably comes out in the summer of next year, but I don't know if they'll talk about that or not. Or it could be one of those things that Animal Crossing gets delayed into 2027, because I don't think a lot of people remembered that Animal Crossing originally was supposed to come out in 2019, but it got delayed. Either way, I think the show closes out with Animal Crossing or something else that we're just not expecting. Guys, that's what I'm saying about this Nintendo Direct that happens tomorrow. I want to hear from you. Are you guys pumped? Would you be happy if that's how the Direct is? Because I feel like there's going to be some people disappointed by the fact that there's going to be a heavy third-party presence and not many new announcements regarding first-party. Because we just know so many things that are coming out for the Switch 2. I don't think Nintendo normally likes to have something like this, so I think announcements are going to be a little weird for the system until really the next Direct, in my opinion. I personally think they should have kept Splatoon Raiders as a surprise announcement rather than announcing it last month like they did, but Nintendo likes doing weird things, and we're here to support them for it, I guess. Guys, I have been talking for way too much. Make sure to backslash that subscribe button, like the video, check out the Twitter, Instagram, Discord, all that good stuff in the description below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace. Woo! Nintendo Direct tomorrow! I'm gonna stream it, probably. Show up to the stream.